Welcome to Around the Horn, FantasyAlarm.com. I'm your host, Ray Flowers. I say all the time, avoid starting pitchers early in the fantasy game because of injuries, because of the fact they only contribute in 4 or 5 categories. We can have the debate about strategy at another point, but the first thing I just said, because of injuries, never been more apparent than it has already in 2015. A multitude of pitchers to discuss, a multitude of pitchers whose seasons might already be over. The first guy, Marcus Stroman of the Blue Jays, doesn't hurt his arm, hurts his knee, tears his ACL, is going to have surgery, occurred during a bunting practice. I know. But Stroman looks like he's almost certainly done for the 2015 season. Now, what did the Blue Jays do with that rotation? Crushing loss for the team, obviously, and for those people that have already had drafts and taken Stroman. But there are 2 big rookie names to take a look at here. Those 2 names are Daniel Norris and Aaron Sanchez. Both guys young, both guys could be dynamite, top of the rotation starters when everything comes to fruition for them. Does that occur in 2015? One of the big keys here is what's going on in the bullpen with the Blue Jays. Brett Cecil, not healthy at this point. Uncertainty about whether or not he'll be good to go once the season gets underway. He is the presumptive favorite to be the closer. But if he's not ready, if he's not physically capable of doing that, Aaron Sanchez probably gets a shot in the 9th inning. So keep a close eye on the health of Cecil. That probably determines the roles of Norris and Sanchez for the Blue Jays in 2015. But both of their stars are certainly shining brighter with the unfortunate injury to Marcus Stroman. Pitchers who had issues with their arms. Those are the next 4 guys we're going to talk about. First off, Darvish, season probably over. The Rangers haven't made any announcements at this point officially. They'll do that on Wednesday. But it looks like elbow issue, Tommy John surgery indicated, 2015 season done for Darvish. Now, if that's the case, he could also miss the start of 2016. Let's not forget, often 12 to 18 months recovered from the Tommy John surgery. So his outlook for next season can also be compromised if this is the direction the team decides to go in. He's had triceps issues, elbow issues, neck issues. Darvish, very, very wary of him at the moment. If you're in a dynasty league, really tough guy to be holding on to. You can't trade him at this point and get anything fair value. But FantasyAlarm.com/winning, our rankings there in the draft guide. We've always been lower on him. We didn't have him as an SP1 because of the injury concerns. Unfortunately, we were right about that. Cliff Lee, another potential top-of-the-rotation arm. His season might be over. His career might be over. It's too early to say that for certain, but the fact is he had the issue with let me get it straight, flexor tendon tear. It's the same issue he had last season that caused him to miss all that time. The bottom line is right now, if he has to have surgery, it's probably 6 to 8 months. So if he has to have surgery, his season is over. He's already said that if he has to have surgery, he might consider retiring. He's getting up there in age. He's made his money. We'll see what happens with that. In terms of what happens right now, he's going to try to pitch through it. He's going to give it his best shot. If it goes, it goes. If he has to have surgery, he does. So he'll try to pitch through the injury. But the team and the players certainly sound like they don't expect him to be able to do that. He's not draftable at this point in fantasy leagues. Gavin Floyd, I don't know if he was draftable in fantasy leagues. Maybe AL only. I don't know, maybe. But he had an issue with his elbow, the same issue that plagued him last season that cost him all that time. He's got it again this year. He may or may not pitch in 2014. We're not certain about that. He certainly won't be ready anywhere near the start of the season. You've got Kluber there as a Cy Young winner, Carrasco, Bauer, and then the last 2 spots look like Danny Salazar and TJ House. Now there's a player profile at Fantasy Alarm, FantasyAlarm.com/profiles, talking about Salazar. We'll have one on House very soon because he's the guy that really takes a step forward. This news with Floyd. Looks like Salazar and House can round out what could potentially be a dynamite rotation for the Indians. No team in the American League may have a better 5-sum of arms than those guys. We'll have to see if the performance matches that. And then finally, Mike Minor, not an elbow but a shoulder. He went and visited Dr. James Andrews, said, look, you've got rotator cuff inflammation. We're going to shut you down for a couple of weeks. Didn't even throw 150 innings last year, did Minor. ERA was 4.77. His whip was 1.44. Didn't perform well. Certainly not getting off on the right foot this year. He's only an option in NL-only leagues. Hopefully he'll be back at some point early in the season. But with him, too early to tell, and coming off the issues last season, a very, very risky guy to get in a fantasy league. FantasyAlarm.com/winning for our draft guide. FantasyAlarm.com/profiles for the player profile series. I'm Ray Flowers. FantasyAlarm.com. Around the Horn. Talk to y'all again soon.